So, before we start our podcasts today, do you know where you are keeping your beautiful mind boxes? Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the DemCast family of podcasts. Oh, little delayed reaction from Aliza there. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Aliza Worthington, and Carolee is off today, but Aliza is also from
Aliza's confused.
.com. And what are you
I'm.
confused about?
What's the mind box thing? I
Oh,
don't get.
oh. Okay, so there's an article. Okay, if you I don't know if this was in the I don't know if this was in the indictment or if this came out in an article, but Trump's staffers
Oh
started
dear.
referring to the boxes as his beautiful mind boxes because his obsession with, and there was a whole article in the New York Times today about his obsession with these boxes, how he had to have the boxes near him, and how, as disorganized as they were, he could tell if anybody had moved anything out of them. And there were certain boxes he needed to take with them wherever he went. And so they were referring to the movie A Beautiful Mind, where Nash had all these clippings on the wall and thought that there was code, that it was coded or something. And so that's the new phrase that has entered the lexicon, beautiful
His
mind boxes.
beautiful mind boxes.
Yes. And so that's why I thought that would be a funny way to get into today's show. um,
So not only were these boxes just sitting around at Mar-a-Lago, they traveled with him wherever he went.
they and they started when he was president, when he was in the White House. And he would put all this crap into these boxes and take them into the residence. And when the boxes got filled, they would just start a new box. And this is how these boxes happened.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this man never should have been president. He never should have been anywhere near the White House. I mean,
I,
when he was elected, we knew that it was going to be a massive security risk.
yeah. Yeah, we sure did. But my beautiful mind box is blown right now. I got to tell you. That's wow.
So anyway,
But that
yeah.
his staffers are so deluded that they.
Oh, the staffers aren't deluded. They were making fun of it, calling them
Oh,
beautiful.
they were. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Beautiful one.
That's like sarcasm.
Oh, well. I'm not sure I feel any better about it, but
No.
oh, oh my God. So, should we start off with his appearance, his arraignment?
Yeah. Because, you know, up until Tuesday, that was dominating everything.
Yeah.
You know, they were showing him getting on the plane, all the usual crap, you know. And then the arraignment happens, and there ain't that much to it, right?
No, there's not much to an arraignment in general. They read the charges. You plead guilty or not guilty.
Yeah.
Then the judge says, okay, you're allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. The judge decides if you can be released on your own recognizance or if you have to be jailed until
And
trial.
unlike Reality Winner,
Unlike Reality Winner, they let Trump
were
free.
were released on their own recognizance.
No restrictions on travel. He didn't have to surrender his passport.
It would be difficult for him to leave undetected with
That's
that
true.
service. It's not like he can hide.
But I mean, still, I don't. That's not the point, though.
I know. He's being treated better than the average citizen. He was given several off ramps so that this indictment did not have to happen.
Mhm.
He insisted that the beautiful mind boxes and their classified contents are his, belong to him, and he has a right to them.
Yeah.
And he refused to take anything that they offered. Again, reality winner, one document, in jail.
How many years?
She was in for 4 years, I think,
4
before they
years.
got her out on good behavior. And I think she's still on probation.
Yeah, he
And,
doesn't even have to wear an ankle
and,
bracelet or
and,
anything.
and the classified information that she revealed did not harm our national security.
No. And he's like showing it off like it's a blue ribbon from a swim meet, you know? He's just, he's like, check it out. Isn't this interesting?
Yeah, well, you know, the part that is really infuriating are the way they turn it around and say that they are being treated worse. Joe
Oh,
Biden
yeah, the
weaponized.
GOP. Yeah, the maggots. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Weaponization of government. When these
Well,
are the people that have been doing all the weaponizing, we're just trying to follow the law here.
yeah, hold them accountable.
Right.
Yeah, the
Well,
party of law and order doesn't want the law applied to them.
no, only to us.
Right. And only, to and they really do weaponize it
Hmm.
against us.
Yeah.
They would go if this were Obama, you think they would have let him out on his own recognizance?
Nope. Or Hillary.
Or Hillary?
Hillary, who they keep dragging out whenever something is against them.
Yep.
What about Hillary? What about Hillary? Hillary did not take hundreds of classified documents and refused to return them.
Right. And her emails didn't threaten national security.
Right.
Like the ones that were even, the very, very, very few of them that were
Classified after the fact.
classified after the fact. They weren't even designated classified when she had them on her server.
Right. And if James Comey hadn't reopened an investigation and let the world know that they were doing it,
She would have
very
been
likely would have won the election.
right. And
Talk about
our nation wouldn't
weaponization
be,
of government.
yeah, and we wouldn't be in this position where our nuclear secrets and the nuclear secrets possibly of our allies are maybe in the hands of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Yeah.
May,
We have no idea what he did with our secrets when he was legally able to look at them or after he left office when he kept them illegally.
who's which ally do you think, whose nuclear secrets besides ours do you think he showed? Because I've seen mention of one of our allies. I'm guessing it's Israel. What do you think?
That's my guess too.
Yeah.
But could have been the UK, could have been France.
Yeah, I
He
guess.
doesn't like any of our allies who are in NATO. It could have been NATO.
Yeah. Yeah, could have been NATO documents.
Japan.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's impossible to know.
yeah.
And what we do know is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
Jack Smith knows a lot more than we do.
Jack Smith knows a lot more, and I have faith that he's going to use his information in the most strategic way possible. In the meantime, Trump was told or Nada was told that he could keep his job as Trump's body man.
I don't
And,
understand that.
well,
But he's not allowed to talk about the case.
he and
Neither.
Trump are not allowed to talk about the case, and who
Right.
believes that's going to happen?
Right. Like, how are they not going to talk about the case? Who
I don't.
believes that Trump is going to? I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I
Like,
feel sorry for Nada because he's going to get thrown under the bus so quickly, and he's
I don't
just
feel bad. I don't feel
he's a
sorry for him.
Navy guy who was, so excited to be working in the White House for the president, and
Mm-hmm.
career. I think he's from American Samoa or something, or Guam, and his family was so proud of him,
Uh-huh.
and I just see him as this naive
Huh.
kid who joined the Navy and was career Navy
Yeah.
and worked his way up, and he has no idea
Hmm.
how awful this president is, even working up close and personal with him. But he lied.
Well, yeah.
He lied. He lied. He,
I don't understand how the judge thinks. How does the judge think that Trump is not going to talk to Nada about the case?
I don't know what the judge thinks, but I think the judge was more concerned about this guy has no livelihood if he loses his job.
Right. But how is that a consideration?
I don't know.
You know what
Again,
I mean? Like,
again, we're bending over backwards.
that's what I'm saying. Like, black
Again.
people don't get that consideration when they, did Reality Winner get that consideration when she was, you
Nope.
know,
Nope.
like, I don't get it. I feel like I have something in my teeth. Do I? No.
It's
Anyway.
fine. But different judges have different standards, and this isn't even canon. Now, today the case progressed. Yesterday, Canon issued an order
Yeah.
that all the attorneys need to get their clearance so that they can do discovery.
Right.
Today, the attorneys that Trump ended up with gave notice saying that they are starting that process now.
Yeah. And hopefully that'll be expedited. But I
Yeah,
mean,
because we want this to go quickly.
right. And, it's not a quick process getting
Yeah.
clearance, but
But they will expedite it for this.
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that the documents that were included in the indictment are the ones where the least harm will be done to the country with these attorneys being able to read them.
Yeah.
Because there were many, many dozens of other documents that they're not even discussing.
Yeah. That I'm sure which is fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. These
uh,
are bad enough.
yeah. Yeah. But I loved that Jack Smith appeared,
Yes.
that he was there
He
with
was
his
there
prosecutors.
and he was laser eyed on
He
Trump.
was focused. He was staring at the back of Trump's head the whole time. Trump didn't even have the balls to look at him.
Yeah. I love that one of the lefty publications framed it as Jack Smith cannot be intimidated, and it's driving the right crazy.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. I'm sure it's true. And Trump is shitting a brick.
And I'm sure that's true too. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
It is. It's the first time he's ever been held accountable for anything in his fucking 76 years. Is that
As
how old he
John
is?
Kelly said.
Yeah. When has he ever
Never,
been held accountable?
never.
Now, except, oh, okay, I take that back. The E. Jean Carroll case.
Yeah, but he's appealing that, but that's
He's
okay.
appealing it, but he was found
Filing
liable.
for
He was
more.
found liable. He lost that
It
case.
continues. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, he can go through the appeals process, but he's not going to win that.
Nope.
And, he's going to eventually have to pay up for that. And she gets to take him to court again.
Yep. And ask for more money.
and ask for more money because of his, continued slander.
Which is why nobody believes he's going to, live with a gag order.
Right.
You can't talk about the case. He's
Right.
gonna talk about the case.
He's going
He
to
is
talk
not
about the case with
if
Walt, and he's already thrown Walt Nada under the bus in his stupid ass truth post.
if he listened to his attorneys in the first place, this case never went to trial, would never have gone to trial.
Well, he listened to some of his attorney. He listened to some of his attorneys were telling him he couldn't beat this and he needed to turn it over. But idiots like Tom Fitton,
who's not an attorney,
were telling him, other people were telling him, no, these are your documents. You own these documents. You can totally, these are yours to do with as you wish.
he listens to the people who tell him what he wants to hear.
Tell him what he wants to hear. Yep. So who is Tom Fitton to him, if not one of his attorneys? Like, who is this guy?
Well, you know who he is.
I don't know what that sound is. Sorry,
That was me getting a message.
Oh, okay. I'm like, is there? Okay.
Yeah, no, that was on my end. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
But you know who Tom Fitton is.
I'm not sure.
He's the head of Judicial Watch.
Oh, Judicial Watch. That's right. I knew it was some right-wing crap, not
Right.
Federalist Society, but yeah, Judicial Watch. Okay.
Who made his fortune grifting off of right-wingers trying to prove that the Clintons killed Vince Foster.
Right. But I didn't realize he wasn't an attorney.
Nope, not an attorney.
I knew he wasn't Trump's attorney.
No, he is not anybody's attorney.
He's not an attorney. Okay.
But
well,
Trump
there you go.
Advice.
But he's head of something called Judicial Watch, so he must have some law knowledge, right? So I'm making Trump's argument in
Judicial Watch. What they've
so
done,
like Trump is like, well, he must know something about the law. He does something called Judicial Watch, right? So
yeah, all they do is try to help conservative Supreme Court justices
right
get into office,
like the Federalist Society, like
right.
just
right. They flood the zone with money and ads.
Money, ads,
and to smear the liberal justices.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't realize he was the brainchild behind the Vince Foster.
One of them.
Ugh. When you think about
Hillary was right. There is a vast right-wing conspiracy, and it's even worse now.
Oh my God. How many years ago did she say that?
30.
20, 30 years ago?
30 years ago.
30 years ago.
When Clinton was still president.
Yes. And the way she was pilloried for saying that, she has never, ever been wrong.
They hated her from her first 60 Minutes interview.
They hate because she said she wouldn't bake cookies.
She wouldn't bake cookies, that she would rather do what she was doing, which was being the breadwinner for their family living on a government salary.
Yeah.
And they hated that. They have hated her ever since.
In the 80s. In the 80s, when allegedly it was supposed to be okay
early 90s, but yeah.
But even worse.
Yeah.
Like, I was out of college by then.
Yeah.
I graduated in 1990 with a master's degree. And you're like, weren't we supposed to be okay by then with women not staying home?
Living here in Los Angeles, I thought so.
I mean,
but it's different in Arkansas. I remember the first time
in Arkansas. He was governor of Arkansas he was super popular in Arkansas. And she never stayed home and baked cookies in Arkansas either.
No, she didn't.
It's not like she put on some kind of facade in Arkansas.
Nope.
They knew what she was there.
She
And
didn't
they
change her last name to Clinton until he ran for
until he
president.
ran for president. And they knew that too in Arkansas, and they
Yeah,
embraced them.
yeah.
So this is what I don't like. This is why it's hard for me to buy the fact that like the nation as a whole wasn't ready for a first lady, a term I hate, but a first lady who wasn't um
Tradition, a Trump
traditional
wife.
traditional in the housewife sense,
Yeah,
because they had done so well up until that point, in Arkansas of all places. And what it was just something, it upset a few people in power,
I
like
think
the people in Judicial Watch,
I
like.
think it's part of the intertwining of evangelical Christian movement
Yeah.
and the Republican Party. I think that these folks who want the government to be run like their interpretation of the Bible, where the man is the boss, the head of the household, and everybody is under that, and he makes all the decisions, and we're just chattel, which is where it's going with this Supreme Court.
Yeah. Oh my God, is it
For
my
you
can
and me, it's hard for the two of us to wrap our
yeah.
minds around it because this is not how we were raised.
No, no, but
We're growing up on the coasts,
yeah,
you in the New York area, me in Los Angeles, and being Jewish,
yeah,
Reform Jewish on my end. I don't know if you were conservative or
no,
reform or yeah,
reform.
reform. So that's like thoroughly modern. And forgive us for thinking that the world was
I
was
mean, you
on.
know, not for nothing, but my grandmother who was born, I think, in the 30s was an attorney in the 50s.
Yeah.
So that just gives you a sense of,
With fatal
where my
history. Yeah,
yeah, where my family, what
right.
my stock was like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, uh,
So
I don't know why her name is
she's so
escaping
good.
me, but
Miss
who
having Carol Lee.
who was the one? Yeah, sorry guys, this is the Jewocrats hour. Um,
Yeah, if Carol Lee was here, she could give us some perspective.
yeah, what? Oh my God, I'm forgetting the name. This is concussion brain happening again. I'm still like losing some stuff, but there was just a mini series about her. She was the woman, like the total right wing woman
Phyllis
who.
Schlafly?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like the whole
Unbelievable.
Phyllis Schlafly thing that
Yeah.
the Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
thing was rubbing, irritated that part
Yeah.
of the country.
But, I remember when that was happening because I was in high school when the ERA was passed, and it just seemed so inevitable. And then Phyllis Schlafly shows up,
Hmm.
and, we're laughing at her because who would listen to this? And then she was successful, and that was one of many comeuppances because, I couldn't believe Nixon was elected either. So I had a lot of political disappointments in my youth.
And
Um,
then we were laughing at George
Reagan,
Bush.
you know?
We laughed at George Bush
Which one?
the
W?
second.
Yeah.
I wasn't really laughing at the first one, at
The
George
first one I
H.W.
had respect for.
I didn't
Well,
necessarily. I didn't know enough. I was younger than you. I wasn't following super closely, but I didn't. But George W. Man, I'll never forget my dad during the campaign. There was some news footage of him like coming off a plane, and my dad said, "I'm telling you, Aliza, you're looking at the next president." And I laughed. I
Yeah,
was like,
because
"Get
it's
out of here, Dad. The
because
guy's such a fucking idiot."
yeah,
And sorry, the first F bomb. We're 25 minutes in. It's our first F bomb. That's pretty good.
I think I might have used one before.
Did you use one already? Anyway, but I laughed at him, and there he is. And then, of course, we laughed at the notion of Trump.
Well, Trump makes W look like a Rhodes Scholar.
I know, and a moral giant,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is like the most. If you want to talk about absurdity upon absurdity,
And I remember being so angry with W because he made Nixon look good.
I know, right? We're like, what's next? I'm so afraid. But I
Well,
mean, here we have,
what's
you
next
know,
is we cannot let them be in power again. We
no,
need
we
to
can't.
get
And I have to, I really, really have a lot of confidence in this DOJ. I have confidence in Merrick Garland, and I always have. I never bought into the do something Twitter crowd. I never bought into the Merrick Garland is incompetent and slow crowd. I never,
if
I,
if you're going to do it right, it's going to take time. You
I was,
want the
I
charge
was
over.
accepting of the fact that I didn't know what they knew,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how to do their job, and that I just felt like, and the abundance of competence that we see coming out of the Biden administration and all of his appointees is like just an embarrassment of riches, with the job
Starting
success, the economy
with
success,
Kamala Harris. You know,
starting with
we don't
Kamala
say
Harris.
enough about the excellence of Kamala Harris. And I feel like every week we should have a little segment where we
We
talk
should.
about Kamala and what she has done this week.
Did you see that David? I
Rothkopf,
don't. How do
David
you say his name?
Rothkopf.
No, it starts with a D. Damarov, or
I did not see that one. I saw the Dr. Rothkopf thread
there's
where
one of
he,
those, and then there's oh, maybe it is a Rothkopf thread. But yeah, it's a really, really excellent
excellent.
thread about that he had a chance to sit down with her. Is
Yeah,
that the one?
that's
Yeah,
the one.
it's
That's
an excellent thread. And
And we need more of that because it's not breaking through. And I am very pleased they've hired someone, they've assigned someone to work on Kamala's image because
oh, who have
first
they hired for that?
African American woman as vice president, and they have made a tactical error in thinking that she would be covered like any male vice president. She has not been. We keep getting these constant articles about Biden is too old and Harris can't be elected and Newsom should run and you know.
Yeah, what's your dream ticket for 2024? And I'm like, sorry, Biden Harris.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my dream ticket.
Exactly. But they are beating this like a dead horse,
Hmm.
and
I
it's
mean, Biden has appointed how many federal judges, and or like 70% of them are minorities.
yeah. He promised to make the judiciary and his cabinet look more like the rest of America, and he has kept that promise.
And he did. And not only that, he has taken nominees who aren't prosecutors. He has not only diversified them
White's attorney.
demographically, he's
Yeah.
diversified their backgrounds. He's
Yes.
diversified the kind of law they practice.
Yes.
And it's really remarkable what he's done with that, and that's going to make a difference for decades.
I mean, the competence. of his appointees, all the way down the line,
Mhm.
what he has done. I saw an article today in Axios, and it talked about the tremendous amount of money that has been invested in American manufacturing capability. And it
So
said
much.
that you cannot, I mean, like 1.3 trillion or something. And they said that you cannot make predictions about the burgeoning economy that we're going to have for the rest of the decade without taking this into account. That
Yeah.
this is part of what is underlying how resilient our economy has been.
Yeah.
And it has been resilient. Inflation continues to go down. It's still not where the Fed wants it to be, but when they met this
Oh, but
week,
it's cut in half in the last year.
yes.
Since last summer.
Yeah, it was
Since last
9%
summer.
a year ago, it's 4% now.
More than half. Yeah.
And so when the Federal Reserve met, was it yesterday they met? They decided
2
2
days
days
ago.
ago. They decided not to raise interest rates. And
Yep.
so it looks like if all things stay good, you know, they will keep not raising the rates, and eventually they could start lowering them again. Although, we went through like a 20-year unprecedented time where there were like 0% interest rates, which was
Yeah,
crazy.
which is absurd. That's
I mean,
crazy.
they're now kind of normal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's just and the joblessness rate is the jobs market is tremendous.
Yeah,
There's lots of jobs out
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um,
And then the thing that I think is really going to affect the inflation is that we have a stubborn housing affordability problem,
yes.
and oil is going to remain very volatile, especially with OPEC deciding to cut production again.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, because they want to keep those prices
Prices.
high.
Yeah.
And maybe they also want to manage their supply because it is a finite supply.
Yeah.
And so, again, the Biden administration's moves to move us into an electric economy, a renewable economy, makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. And people forget Kamala Harris majored in economics. She didn't major in poli sci, she majored in economics. Like, the woman knows what she's doing.
Yes.
It,
And the
it's
problem
like,
is, she's the
yeah.
vice president, and we don't get to see what she's doing unless
No, but the thing is that
it's
he knows, Biden knows what she's doing,
yeah,
and Biden dispenses her out. Like, Biden
he
sends her
does.
out into all these massively important jobs,
Mhm.
all of these initiatives that he puts her on are having impact.
Right, but they don't get covered.
No. Why would they?
Unless there's a problem, they don't
Yeah,
get covered.
right. Right. Her press secretary leaves and oh my gosh, her staff can't stand her, or something. So, but I don't know.
Because
I
nobody can
can't.
stand working for a woman.
Oh, right. Yeah. I've been in a room with her. She's lovely.
Yeah, she is.
She is. Um, but anyway, there was a good uh, Supreme Court decision this week. The Indian Child Welfare Act was preserved.
Yes.
Um, and that was Monday, was it? Because yesterday I don't remember hearing anything about
I thought it was
decisions.
yesterday.
That was yesterday?
I think that was yesterday
I am
because
so confused.
well, that's okay. The days all seem to
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think so. But anyway,
let's look
the
it
in,
up.
Yeah, let's look it up. So, and that was a big surprise. And the thing
Right.
that I keep reading about, which I didn't know, is that apparently Neil Gorsuch is one of the longest and staunchest defenders
Yeah,
of
there was another
Indigenous
case
rights.
where he upheld the rights of Native Americans.
Yeah, and he wrote he didn't write the majority opinion, but he wrote a concurring opinion.
Yeah.
Um and um I didn't know that. I was pleasantly
It's nice to know
surprised.
there's some depth to some of them. They're not all 100% villainous.
Yeah, I mean, as Ellie Mistal said, it would be nice if he, extended the same courtesy to women and Black people. But
It would.
it's interesting that he, Mark Joseph Stern said, he is by far of all the Supreme Court justices has the best record on Indigenous rights,
Yes.
and according to Mark Joseph Stern, it's not even close.
Yeah. So,
It's by a long
yay
shot.
for Gorsuch in this
So
instance.
in this case, yay for
Yeah.
Gorsuch, and it is the Indian Child Welfare Act. For those of you who don't know, is meant to preserve Indigenous families and prevent prevent the removal of Indigenous children from their families, or
Right.
if they need to be removed, that they be placed
Within someone else in the
within
tribe.
their tribe, or within somebody that's within a family that's also Indigenous,
Yeah.
as opposed to being taken into a Christian family, or
When
some.
you look at the shameful history of the genocide
It is, that's what
that
it
our
is.
people inflicted on the indigenous Americans,
Yeah.
you know.
Not just that, I'm listening to a podcast called Stolen. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
um and the second season of Stolen is about the residential schools in Canada, but we had them here
We
too.
had the same thing here.
We had them here too.
Yeah.
And
Horrible.
it may as well be about America too.
Yeah. It's the
But it,
same.
it was all the same thing.
Yeah.
And it is beyond brutal,
Yeah.
beyond you know savage, to use a word that they would lob at Indigenous kids.
Right. Right.
What they would do to 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, not even apart from the sexual abuse, how they would treat them, um, and starve them and beat them, and it's the brutalization of these tiny innocent children in the name of Christianity is, so the Indian Child Welfare Act is meant to keep Indigenous children within Indigenous tribes, and the fact that it was upheld was a very, very good
Big deal.
decision, and a very big deal. And the decision was 7-2. And we all know, a lot of us, said, gee, we wonder who the two dissenting votes were. Let me guess. And they were Donna, drum roll.
Well, the ones that we know are 100% villainous, and that would be Thomas and Alito.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's who they were. Ding, ding, ding. Thomas and
The rest
Alito.
of them have a little depth.
There you go. Anyway, so that was some good news. And that was the only case I heard decided this week.
I think there were some others, but they weren't as big. There was the one that allows the Department of Justice to retry a case in a different jurisdiction.
What's that one about? I hadn't heard about that one.
That also was yesterday.
Hmm.
You know that Jack Smith started that second grand jury in Florida because the majority of the time spent with these documents
Hmm.
took place at Mar-a-Lago.
Right, right,
And he did not want to be overturned on
right.
venue.
Sure.
If he had waited a week when this decision came down, which we weren't
Yeah.
expecting it to come down this way,
Right.
he could have filed in DC.
Ah, okay. Well, you know what? I got no problems with Jack Smith.
No, I think he knows what he's doing.
I got not a one problem with that dude.
Yeah,
He is we had some real BDE going on. We thought some of us on Twitter were pretty impressed with his with the energy, and he's he's okay in my book.
yeah. He doesn't say
So
much, but when he does, it's right there.
nope. And I liked that he let his prosecutors take, just do their job. And he was, when it
Yeah,
was done, he like put his arm around him and was like, fist bump, good job, guys.
yeah,
Let's get back to work. And it's funny how the drawings that we got made Trump look like 80 pounds lighter and 30 years younger. I'm like, who did he slip $50 to do these drawings? That's not what Trump looks like right now, but okay.
yeah. It was also, again, Trump tries to seize the narrative.
Yeah.
And so he had his staged event at Versailles restaurant.
I thought it was a Cuban restaurant. I thought he
It
went to
is. It is.
Versailles is a Cuban restaurant. Okay, so my little brain is, or okay, short circuiting.
I know. That's what it's called.
Okay,
So he went to Versailles, which is like the big Cuban restaurant in Miami.
okay.
And we have one here in LA too.
Oh,
I don't
really?
I don't know if it's related to it, but it's the same name and great Cuban food.
It's
But
also a Cuban restaurant.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
So, and maybe that was a restaurant in Havana originally,
maybe.
you know.
Okay,
But Versailles is a Cuban restaurant. He was there. There were faith leaders. There was a rabbi who laid hands on him, and
Ashanda.
yeah, I know. And so his people were there, and Trump said, "Food on me," and then he walked out without
He
paying.
left without paying the bill.
And then he went to Westminster, where he had a rally, and he spouted all kinds of lies. I think he's already, violating his gag order, saying things that the attorney doesn't want him to say.
Well, what's the gag order? I thought the gag order was. I thought.
It's like not discussing things with co-defendants. So I guess anyway, he's already confessing to crimes in public, basically.
Yeah, so this
So,
guy who handled the arraignment is a magistrate judge.
yes,
He's not Judge
that's
Cannon, who's
right,
going to be handling the actual
right,
trial.
right.
She's the trial judge. The magistrate judge handles little,
The
like, not
arraignment.
little, but like administrative
Yeah,
things. So that's why you have two judges handling things for the same
yeah.
the same charge, I guess. But anyway,
So anyway, he goes to Bedminster.
yeah,
One byproduct of him going to Bedminster is that there was a confirmation hearing in the Senate, and they expected that Harris was going to have to go and do a tiebreaker vote.
yeah.
But no, Tommy Tuberville decided to go to Bedminster instead.
Idiot.
So,
Idiot.
but
Thanks,
it was,
coach.
but it was also during this speech at Bedminster, which, wisely MSNBC and CNN did not broadcast.
Yeah,
But
thank God.
and that's where you had that Chiron split screen Biden giving a speech, Trump giving a speech, and the chyron that stated that wannabe dictator um, weaponizing the government against former President Trump.
And what do we say? From that side, every accusation is a confession.
Now, today it was announced that the producer who was responsible for that chyron has been fired.
Oh, okay.
He was one of Tucker Carlson's producers.
Oh, so he was pissed.
He's one of the ones that was mentioned in Abby Grossman's lawsuit as being so misogynist and anti-Semitic.
Oh.
And apparently Fox is trying to get a settlement with Abby Grossman right now, too.
Oh,
So
man.
that could have been more part of the settlement than... But anyway,
until he does something else.
He's out of a job.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Am I right?
Like, I love that it's not bad enough that he's a misogynistic anti-Semite who abuses a woman in her job.
Uh-huh.
They're not going to fire him for that. They're going to fire him because he does something publicly that makes them look bad and embarrasses them so much that they have to do something.
Yeah.
And because it's not going to make Tucker mad anymore. Like, they don't have to deal with the wrath of Tucker anymore.
Nope.
Because Tucker's gone. You know, if Tucker was still there,
they are probably going to sue him too, Fox, because he is violating his non-compete with his stupid little show on Twitter.
So stupid. But I mean, but you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Like, it's not bad enough, you know, but they only fire him when he embarrasses them, not when he engages in abusive and fucking, you know, horrendous criminal behavior against one of their employees.
Does not care about this country.
Exactly.
He only became a citizen of this country in order to own broadcast stations.
That's right. Right. He cares about his wallet.
Does not care.
Yep. Shit, I hadn't heard that.
Oh, good. I told you something you hadn't.
You told me something new.
Now, have you been following?
All I had heard is that a rogue producer. That's all I had heard, is that it was like some producer gone rogue. Say it again.
The sham hearing in the House the other day.
Which one?
The one where they were praising and praying for the January 6th insurrectionists and saying that there was no insurrection.
No. See, this is what happened. So can I just explain that my new job, new in March or April, like since March or April, my job 9 to 5 now is with a great website called Baltimore Fishbowl, and it's a hyper local news site. So now I am getting down into the weeds with what's going on in Baltimore.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. I love it. But basically, before that, with Crooks and Liars, I was 24 hours, 7 days a week with national news and congressional hearings and all these things.
Now you're in the weeds.
Now I'm in the other direction, like super narrow, hyper local Baltimore news, and I'm learning.
Lee and I can tell you what's going on.
So now I'm like learning. So I haven't heard like a lot of this. So all I see, I'm still on the Crooks and Liars, like the listserv, and I get all the emails, and I'm on their Slack, and I see all the things, and I see Jasmine Crockett ripping Lauren Boebert to shreds, and I'm seeing, you know, so I sort of have an idea of what's going on. I see Dan Goldman. I see who's the other guy who wears like these really loud jackets, but he's
Jared Moskowitz, that guy.
Yes, I love him.
Yes,
another Jew. Thank you very much. Very good. Another member of the tribe.
Shower, isn't it?
Oh, he does great work. He really does.
He does.
But so tell me. So they're praying over the January 6th victims.
Okay, so
boo-hoo.
So Matt Gaetz.
Sorry.
Matt Gaetz does not have a position of leadership anywhere.
Oh,
He's not a committee chair.
no.
He has no rights to hold an official hearing.
Okay.
But Kevin McCarthy let him hold a hearing around the same time that Trump's arraignment was happening. And it was Gates, Paul Gosar, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I saw a picture that showed Lauren Boebert there, but she wasn't listed as one of the people in there. There were a couple of others. So
All the best Nazis.
no Democrats, just the most extreme of the Republicans holding a hearing. And, the people testifying were family members of jailed January 6th participants. Jeffrey Clark, who said that the
He
media,
testified.
yeah, he said that the media called it an insurrection. It was not an insurrection because we won the election.
Okay, sweetie.
And so they're having this whole thing. And just to generate media attention, because it doesn't go into any official records. It's not an official hearing.
Because it's not a hearing.
It's not a hearing. It's a show. It's a show trial.
Yeah, it's clips they can
And
show on Newsmax.
We're praying for your people. They've been unjust. Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, when we're in power, we're going to get even with all these evil Democrats. And she called us evil.
Okay.
Anyway, it was about what you expect. There is a wonderful article about it today in the Washington Post. Dana Milbank wrote about it.
Who wrote it?
Dana Milbank.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's great. And Nicole Wallace did a segment on it today before we went live.
Oh my God. Oh my God. But we weaponize government. When we're in power. She says when we're in power.
Yeah. Now, mind you, that the House couldn't do a damn thing last week because Kevin's right flank refused to vote on some basic rules.
Yeah.
And so everything was stalled. So now, they're back doing it. And the first thing that they do are like articles of impeachment against, no. The first one was I'm losing the word, but they were censuring.
Adam Schiff, right? Didn't they want to censure Adam Schiff?
$15 million for wasting money on the sham Trump impeachment.
Right.
And fortunately, enough Republicans voted against it.
Yeah.
Only 20, but enough voted against it that got tabled. That can still come up. That got tabled. And then Boebert is filing impeachment. Oh, no, it's not Boebert. It's Paulina, whatever her name is.
Luna?
Yeah, Paulina Luna. Articles of impeachment against Biden. I mean, there's so many crazies in the House now. I can't keep track of them all. Do you remember when the only one was, Michelle Bachmann and Louis Gohmert? Those are the only ones we had to worry about.
Louis Gohmert, that's right. Is he still there? He's still. No, did he retire or he got voted out or what?
Heard anything about him lately? Louis Gohmert. I think he retired. Let me see.
What a dumbass. That guy was so stupid.
Yeah, he's a former representative. He's gone. But that's okay. There's like 5. For every Louis Gohmert now, there's 5.
I know. There's so many. Oh my God. Well, let's talk. We only have, can you believe, we have 6 minutes left. Can we talk about the writer's strike? Not to go make a total left turn, but I really would love to hear kind of an explanation of
Sure.
why the writers are on strike and
Sure.
what we can do to support them.
Okay, so the writers are on strike for very good reason. If you if you go back historically to the early days of the movies before any of the Hollywood unions came up, writers were among the people who were most abused by the producers. They would ask for them to submit their work for free. I mean, there's a certain amount of free work you have to do anyway as a writer. In
Right,
order to get hired, you need to write spec scripts. You need to show
right,
people you know how to write.
right.
So, in the old days, the producers would request writing done for free,
Hmm.
and the writers would do it. And they would say, "This is great." And then they would pay them nothing or next to nothing and slap their own name on it. And I mean, there are things traditionally you can do to a writer that you can't do to an actor.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the Screenwriters Guild was born in the 1930s and the 40s, and along with other Hollywood guilds, and there was a lot of labor violence during that period. I mean, it's a fascinating period,
Yeah.
and eventually they received the right to collective bargaining with the studios.
Okay.
So the Screenwriters Guild became the Writers Guild of America,
Right.
and TV was incorporated.
Uh-huh.
Some animation now is incorporated. You know, they have a contract, and there are rules. And in the heyday of network television, you know, there were very strict rules about how you staff, about how many people could, how many rewrites you were allowed, you know, what the payment was at different levels, how many freelance scripts you had to take. You had to, in the days of 32, 24 things in a series, a certain number of them had to be allocated to freelancers so that new people would get a leg up
Hmm.
and be able to get into the guild,
Interesting. Okay.
get their credit, which is how I got that's how I became a member.
Okay.
I got a freelancer's assignment on a
Neat.
couple of shows.
Okay, cool.
So that happened, you know, but with streaming now and 6 episode seasons,
Hmm.
and it's evolved kind of back to where it was in the Wild West days. And there are writers who are being abused terribly. They're doing like tons of rewrites for free. They're they are being told, yeah, we're going to do this, and they do all this work, and then the streaming service or the studio passes, and it's all this work for nothing. And
And they get no payment.
right, and what used to be a job that paid very well, and most people were upper middle class, they're on like subsistence, and they're working at Walmart while they're trying to write. So now you add artificial intelligence into the mix, and they want a new contract that guarantees that they will be used, that they will be paid, that there will be enough people staffing the room.
They won't be replaced by artificial intelligence.
Won't be replaced by artificial intelligence.
Sure.
And so, especially with the artificial intelligence part,
Yeah.
this is going to be an issue in every one of the guild contracts coming up.
Right.
Now, historically, the writer's contract comes up, and you know they know that the contract's going to end, and the producers stockpile scripts. So the writers go on strike, and it takes 2 or 3 months before the studios are hurting because they've stockpiled scripts.
Hmm.
And this is one of the ways they try to break the writers. And then they make separate deals with the DGA and SAG, who they can't do without.
The DGA is,
Directors Guild of America.
and SAG, which is a screen,
Are the actors.
the actors. Yeah.
Okay. So this time around, there's a lot of solidarity between all the unions, even the Teamsters and IATSE, who are behind the scenes people.
Right,
My
right.
daughter's a member of IATSE, and they've
Yes.
been down on the picket line with them and everything. What happened was this time around, the producers just refused to negotiate. Just
Hmm.
period said, this is our contract that we're offering. It wasn't good. And then they said, well, take it or leave it. So the writers went on strike. They're in their 8th week now.
Yeah.
And the director's contract came up a couple weeks ago. And, we thought, oh, for once, the directors are going to be with us, right?
Yeah.
But their leadership negotiated a deal.
Hmm.
And on the AI front, they get a little, but other people that have looked at it are saying, this is not a good deal.
Hmm.
But the directors are still voting on that contract. My
So
daughter,
it's not sealed.
it's not done yet.
Hmm.
So my daughter says she knows a lot of DGA members and they voted yes. But I'm seeing a lot of members on Twitter, including really famous directors.
Yeah.
So they're not that they voted no.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going to happen with DGA. In the meantime, SAG's contract is over, on June 30th. And so there's an active negotiation right now with the actors. And the union voted like 98% for a strike authorization.
Wow.
So if they
That's
don't have
solidarity.
agreement, right. And right now you've got actors out on the line with the writers. You've
Yeah.
got writers shutting down production everywhere.
Yeah.
And production now isn't just in LA. It is all
Oh,
over.
it's all over the place. It's in New
Yesterday
York,
was
it's in Baltimore, it's in Atlanta, it's everywhere.
Yesterday was an International Day of Solidarity. So you had writers in every country showing support for WGA. It's very exciting to see.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the reasons I wanted to spend some time on it today, because I know we talk a lot about politics, but this is
politics.
This is important. This is abuse of workers is not okay, and this is
and you will see in the news that UPS drivers are going to go on strike this summer.
Will they? Okay.
There's a Teamster union that voted to strike. Now UPS did get them to finally give them air conditioning in their trucks. Can you imagine all this time that they didn't have air conditioning in their trucks?
Is that why their doors are open?
Yeah.
They always have their both doors are open.
Yeah.
Which strikes me as like super dangerous.
Yeah.
But so what can we do, like, as I feel like I'm a writer, but I'm not like one of those kinds of writers. So like I'm writing for my website, but like I'm not a screenwriter. Obviously, I'm not an entertainment writer. But
let the world know that you support this.
But is there?
I've seen writers suggest that you cancel Netflix.
Yeah, but like, are there certain things like Netflix as opposed to HBO? Is it
It's all of them.
It's all of them.
So it depends on what you're willing to get to live without. As it is, the new seasons of everything are going to be delayed. I mean, the first casualties were the late night shows. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we went on strike in 1988. And I was working at the Tonight Show at the time, not as a writer, but as a writer's assistant.
Yeah.
And we were dark for 30 days before Johnny Carson made a separate deal with WGA. Now that's less likely to happen now because there's so much consolidation in the industry that I don't think any individual producers are able to do that.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson did do that. We were the only show we were able to go back on the air after 30 days. But yeah. There's a whole list somewhere I read of all the shows that have been delayed. And there's just going to be more. Now it's movies too being delayed.
Sure.
Because, when we know that when the WGA knows there's a production, they are picketing.
Yeah.
And, the Teamsters
And
and
nobody wants to cross it.
nobody wants to cross the picket line.
No one's going to cross the picket line.
Right. So yesterday we passed by Paramount and we saw the people.
Honk.
Yeah, we honked. We went like that. And anybody can actually join the picket line. I've thought of it, but I just feel embarrassed since I'm not a writer anymore. And I
You can
might
still support.
I see.
I've seen a few people on Twitter saying, you can send, there are like links where you can send money for pizza, but I mean, I guess you have to be careful for that.
And that's like Drew Carey has paid for food for WGA members.
Yeah.
At Bob's Big Boy in Burbank every day of the strike. So he's like spending like $100,000 a day on food for striking.
He's a real one.
Yeah, he's a real one. Stephen Colbert in New York was serving ice cream to striking writers.
Yep.
Conan O'Brien showed up to Simpsons Day. They've been having these themed pickets. So there was Simpsons Day in front of Fox. And Conan, of course, started out as a writer.
Yeah.
The writer on The Simpsons.
Yep.
Well, he was there. Yesterday at Warner Brothers, a unionized strip club came and joined the writers and did a little show. So, I mean, they're having fun with it.
Yeah, but I mean, they have to. I mean, good for them.
Yeah. Yeah. But
anyway, it's hard work striking.
It is hard work, and you're not making an income.
That's right.
Of course, that's the reason they're striking in the first place, because they weren't making an income.
Yep.
So anyway,
so they may as well.
We are way over our hour now.
We are way over. Can we still do it?
You got me talking.
I wanted to. I mean, I told you beforehand. I told you ahead of time. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to hear about it.
So we're good.
So, thank you.
I say that's it for this week.
Yeah, that's it for this week.
Join us next week on YouTube, MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Aliza Worthington saying goodbye for the MOMocrats.
Bye, guys.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the DemCast family of podcasts.